We're in it
Yeah,
together.
I was I checked that like your previous ones as well, and then we barely see like podcasts in Australia. Let's say it's like I was very keen to like give it a go.
Yeah, yeah, no, I appreciate your time and I appreciate you being like interested in jumping on. Um, I was at the national show and I saw you up on stage and I was like super, super impressed. And I'm pretty sure
I appreciate it.
if I'm right, like I think you're my second men's physique athlete. So I was like, I saw you up on stage and I was like, damn,
Yeah.
I'm like, I gotta get this man on. He looks like he's going far. Gonna make it. And I was really impressed by just everything, your stage presence, the physique that you brought on stage. And like I said, first time seeing you up on stage. So obviously I don't know a lot about if
Mm,
that was your first show or not, but I was like, man, I'd love to have a chat with him. He seems
mm.
like a great bloke. Heard quite a good things about you from
I
some other
appreciate it.
competitors. So I'm excited to get to know you
Mm.
more and help the audience get to know you more.
Hectic. I love it.
Well, first off, I guess I like to start, I guess, at the beginning, kind of help everyone kind of understand what kind of
Mm,
brought you into bodybuilding, what got you into fitness, and I guess like your journey
mm.
from where you were to where you are now.
Sweet. The way I started, it's still relatively like recent because I started going to gym in 2021.
Mhm.
Um, so that's 5 years ago.
Yeah,
Um, that was the point that I went back to Japan after the first lockdown.
yeah,
Um, I was like, oh, I want to see my family, because my mom and grandma lives in Japan
yeah.
still. Um, and I actually kind of grew up there. I was born in Sydney, but I came back when I was 19 here. So I was in Japan for 12 years. I went to high school and everything.
Oh, crazy.
Um,
That's cool.
I'm fluent in Japanese. Like my Japanese was actually better than my English. Now
Yeah.
it's like I don't know which one is actually better. But I was in Japan, first lockdown. They took the restrictions off. I went back. Then the second lockdown happened. So I got stuck in Japan.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, oh, I don't feel comfortable with my body. I want to lose weight. And then my family had a gym membership, and it was interesting membership that they allowed any other family members to go to the gym without an extra membership if it's the different time that the original member is going.
Okay. That's cool. That's very
So we
interesting.
can't, yeah, so you
Like a
can't go
family
together.
bundle.
Yeah. And it was like same price. So I was like, okay, might as well start going. Then I started going. I was always, watching those YouTube videos for like fitness influencers, especially in Japan. And there's a few mixed guys in Japan, in men's physique especially,
Yeah.
mixed Japanese and, for example, mixed British, like UK, and then mixed American. I looked at them, and when I started going to the gym 3 weeks in, I was like, oh, I think I can look like that. Like, like the results were like super quick. Even say by myself, it's weird, but it's like I had my abs and everything. I was like, I have a good structure, even though
Yeah.
I didn't know much about
Yeah.
bodybuilding. So that was my entry, started going. And the second I started going to gym, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna compete next year.
I respect that.
So that was June, almost exactly a year, 5 years ago. It was like 12th of June or something.
Yeah.
I started going to gym, and I was like, okay, in April, there's an ICN in Sydney.
Mhm.
I'm going to do that one. So I have 10 months. I'm going to bulk up, do the cut, and go for it. So that's how I started. And I just loved the fitness scene in Japan. And that's how I started. I didn't necessarily like watch, the old bodybuilding. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know Ronnie Coleman at that point or Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
So that was my entry. And I just dived into it. I thought I had the potential. I gave it a go. The first ICN show was great. I was lucky enough to win the first timers, and yeah, I stayed locked in. And
Fell in love with
this
it.
nationals, I fell in love with it, and you know, it has been a great journey so far.
Yeah, yeah. That's crazy. I've been to Japan twice. I love Japan. My partner, she
Oh,
wants
really?
to, yeah, yeah. My partner, she's actually currently learning Japanese and she wants,
Really?
yeah, she wants us to, like go live in Japan for 6 months. So that yeah,
Ooh,
yeah, that's on
I
the bucket list.
I can connect you with people as well when you're there with the older bodybuilders. I have a
Yeah,
great
yeah.
connection, and even recently I was talking to one of the guys, the top guys,
Mm,
the mixed guy that I mentioned earlier, the
yeah,
mixed Japanese American
yeah.
guy who's Shun Kaneko, who is competing in the States right now with the pro shows. He has Toronto this weekend. He's my idol. He's my absolute
Yeah.
favorite. I was fortunate enough to connect with him last year. He follows me on Instagram
Oh,
now. We
that's
talk,
awesome.
we chat, and yeah, I was chatting recently. And we are like, you know, we might do a session because I'm going to Japan this month,
Yeah, yeah.
and there's a pro show there. Going to watch that. Network
Mm,
people and stuff like that. I go back quite often because my
yeah,
family's there. I want to
yeah,
make the most out of it,
yeah, yeah,
especially
yeah.
like my grandma's 86, and you know, life is short. You never know
That's right.
what's going to happen. And after last year, what was it last year? Yeah, when I competed in April, so that was a year ago. Throughout the prep, and somehow it made me think like I need to spend more time with my family.
Mm,
It had a weird thing, and then since then I've been like going back and like going trips. And I was fortunate enough, my last competition, which was 3 weeks ago almost in Korea.
yeah,
Um, my mom and grandma actually flew from Japan to watch my show, and it was a great experience to have, my family there because
yeah.
it's a bit of a distance
Yeah.
to come to Australia, and especially for my grandma, that'll be a lot of pressure on the
Mm,
body on a plane. And then I found that to be the reason because, for example, in the nationals with the Open, I got second, and obviously we were aiming for the pro card,
hmm.
trying to win. But the results were not 100% what we wanted, but I was very happy with the package. And then I just took it very positive, saying, okay, I have an opportunity to have my family, watch my competition. And that was the original plan going to Korea, regardless, as a plan B. And the guy who won, Jeremy, for example, great physique. And actually, we under the same coach. So I was just happy for him to win and, um,
It's nice when like a teammate of yours wins. Like
exactly.
when you both have the same coach. I think that's like one thing. Like I know people sometimes ask, even like when you think about the top level at the Olympia, and you have like someone like what's his name? Like Chris Aceto or even
Yeah.
I can never remember like Stefan, and they have heaps of
Yeah. Oh, they
athletes
have
competing,
heaps.
but it's not like, oh, one athlete's better than the other. It's like they're athletes. It's like you're a team and you build that camaraderie
Mm,
where it's like we want to see each other win. So even if you beat me, I'm just happy that someone that's on my team with my coach is winning. Like, and I think that's really
100%.
cool.
Yeah, yeah. And shout out to my coach, Ariel Cuts from the States. He's a huge men's Zik
Mm,
coach. He has so many athletes, and um, I think the results that I've been able to see in the last year working with him has been significant, and he truly raised my standard when it comes
yeah,
to being consistent because I love food. And sometimes I go crazy.
yeah, yeah,
This off season, for example, like getting back to the health phase has been a challenging time. Like last year, for example, I finished my competition in Japan and then I stayed there for like 2.5 weeks going to Korea. Obviously, when you don't have a kitchen and everything, it's an excuse at the end of the day. I
yeah,
know a lot of pros will still lock in and do whatever they need to do, but at that point, I still had a very amateur mindset. And then a few people might know me from a video, a reel on Instagram that I smashed these donuts right after the competition when I was like, still like
yeah.
naked on top. And that went super viral, like 18 million views on
Whoa,
Instagram.
yeah,
And then I posted again slightly differently, and that was another 18 million. So even like some people were like, oh, I've seen you the donut video,
that's
which is
funny.
kind of crazy. But like I blew up. Like I
Yeah,
ate a lot. I tried to be, still in the macros, I tried to match it, but,
yeah,
I was with my family as well, so I ate a lot. And with all the flights, I was super bloated, and I would say it was a failure in terms of like a rebound.
mm,
So this time, I tried to make sure I did the rebound properly, and then my coach was on my ass the whole time. Even this like recently last week, I posted a story that I had crumpets with banana and stuff like that, but it's not on my plan
oh,
because I have cream of rice for
Yeah.
one of my meals.
Mm.
And he was like, what is that? I was like, because he's really like strict
Yeah,
with
yeah, yeah.
things. Even, it's right after the competition. He wants me to like really dial in with
Mhm.
this and follow the plan. And I was like, oh, I thought like it's either he doesn't know what crumpets are because he's from the States. And I
Yeah,
searched like apparently crumpets are more like Australia, New Zealand,
yeah,
UK
yeah,
kind of thing. And yeah, I was like, it's like a fat-free bread kind of thing. It was still in the macros, by the
yeah,
way.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not like going crazy. And then he was like, yeah, I'm just trying to make sure you're not off plan. I was like, oh wow. Because he has a lot of athletes. And
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
I didn't expect him to see my Instagram story, like one story and like
Mm.
message me. So that's like how like kind of strict he is.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that really raised my standard. And this reverse phase has been great for me
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now. So I've only put on maybe like nearly 2 kilos now since stage,
Yeah.
like my peak week. Um, Struggling a little bit, but yeah, it's been good so far.
It's interesting. It's like I find it funny. It's such a trying to find a good balance, I think. Trying to
Yeah,
work out where, and I think sometimes like when you've competed for the first time, I think you kind of have to, it's like the cliche of like, if you want to be big and you want to do open or stuff like that, you got to have one of those really big dirty bulks. Like I feel
yeah,
like it's the
yeah.
same thing when you first compete, you kind of got to find that balance between how can I enjoy the festivities and all the extra food and eating again, celebrations, while also obviously not letting that dig yourself in a hole. And then you
Mm,
kind of just get better as each show goes.
100%.
And then I think like but I think what's cool is like having a coach, even though, sometimes it can seem a bit like, oh, that's too strict, or why are you being
Mm,
so like anal? But I think when you have big aspirations, that's someone who is in a place where you have been, or has understands, or has athletes that are where you want to be, and they're just trying to help you, like you said, raise that standard for where
yeah,
you need to be. Because it's just the truth. If you want to be a pro, you might as well act like a pro. Because it's not like
100%.
you can't just not act like a pro, then become a pro and then go, oh, okay, today's the day that I'm going to finally do everything. It's like,
Yeah,
no, you're not going to make it if you don't do that.
no, no. And that's totally true. And I was so fortunate to connect with so many pros. And last year when I went to Japan, I met this guy called AJ from Canada.
Hmm.
He's an Olympian in the men's physique. He was second in Masters and first in Masters with Andre Ferguson. I connected with them and I started seeing what the pros do,
Mm.
how their standards are. And, even like watching people on YouTube, like Keon, for example,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
212, how locked in they are the whole time. Not the whole time, I would say, but like they're very consistent at least with like all the food. Even like watching John Jewett, how he explains a lot of things about insulin sensitivity when it comes to, trying to keep yourself lean throughout the season, like off season, let's say, and, put on more muscle, not fat.
Mm.
And, I truly believe that once you, for example, do the rebound not not the proper way, but like if you put too much fat on it, it's going to extend your prep, for
Yeah,
example, and then you're going to have a shorter off season, and then you're not going to be able to, build and improve as much as possible. And my goal itself is not just turning pro, for example.
yeah,
Like I really want to be on the stage at Olympia. I want to be the guy that people like. Here's the guy, like men's
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Zeke,
yeah, yeah.
well known. I want to really get into the industry much further. Like I even considered moving to Japan, moving to the States, for example,
Mm.
because I think the fitness scenes are much bigger there,
Yeah, 100%.
especially in the US.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that is something that I consider, and I really see each competition, each season, how different it is between the amateurs and pros when it comes to the mindset and how consistent they are. And that was something that amazed me. And then I don't want to be salty, but I see a lot of amateurs and I can see the reason why they're amateurs in the same time because they have the
Yeah, yeah,
mindset. And as you said, if you want to be a pro, you need to be a pro before turning a pro.
yeah,
It's not like one day you become perfect or something. So that is something that I try to implement as much, not as much, but implement this time and, you know, really be consistent with everything. And I think that is the biggest difference between an amateur and a pro, and then a person who can turn pro. Because even this time, I wouldn't name anyone, but I see people not being honest with a coach, for example,
Hmm.
even a peak week. And I made that mistake as well. If I could go through details, I was with Scott Goebel
Yeah.
last year. Absolutely great coach. I was with him for 2 years, I think, almost, and we did a show together. And when I was with him for the nationals, for example, we did a bit dirty in the morning, like having macas in the morning and then carving up, and that worked perfectly. But I didn't tell him I had muffins as well. So I fucked up. But
Yeah.
my peak was perfect. So it gave me this bad confidence that I made the right call, not him.
Yeah.
I think he knows this at this point because I explained to him. And then when I was in Japan, he was like, okay, let's do the Macca's thing again.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Last time I had muffins as well. I might throw it in. I went a bit too crazy. I fucked up my peak and I looked the worst.
Yeah.
I learned my lesson, and that's not something I'm never going to do, especially with my current coach, because I know he is the guy to trust. Like I have
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
much trust in him.
Yeah.
I I told him as well, like I'm gonna be a dog. Like if you tell me to bark, I'll bark.
Mm.
Like I'll listen to you 100%. And whatever you say, I trust you. I don't doubt it. I might question something, be like, why do we do this?
Yeah.
But even I didn't really question this time because every call was what I thought it'll be.
Yeah.
And between the amateurs, I see that a lot. Or, for
Yeah.
example,
Yeah.
like a guy was complaining about his coach, how things are going,
Mm.
but at the same time, he was not listening. So I think that's a huge part about like having a coach as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
How, if you're going to have a coach, might as well listen properly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's a reason why you have a coach, and that's a reason. There's a reason why that coach is, you know, a great coach
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
same time. So I saw that a lot last year and this year. So that's like another lesson that I learned looking at different people,
Mm.
different amateurs, and made me, realize like, okay, this is not something I'm gonna do. I'm gonna listen, and if it doesn't work, after listening to my coach, we can still fix it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But if I do something differently, do freestyle, think what is right, then
Yeah. Yeah.
my coach can't fix it.
Yeah. That's
So
right.
there's no point in the same time. So that is like a big thing that I learned throughout this
Yeah.
season.
Yeah. There's two like really good points you made, and like one I think is actually like it's funny, it's super underrated because I think people, and this is where like the ego comes into it a little bit. I think
Yeah.
people, like you said, like they'll do what their coach is telling them to do, but then they'll maybe throw in a little something extra, whether it's, a
Yeah.
little bit more drugs or a little bit more food or whatever it may
Mm.
be. And then, they maybe get this one good result this one time, and then they go, oh, okay. And but they don't share it with their coach. So
They
then
don't
they go,
share.
oh, okay, so I think that works. So then, like you said, when then he said when you went in, when Scott told you the second time to go do the Macca's and you're like, oh, let me throw some muffins in again. But then you see, for whatever reason, it worked that first time, but because it wasn't explained to him, and then you went and decided to do it yourself, it fucked up. And I think that's
Yeah.
something that I think a lot of people sometimes can kind of not. It's like being able to. I think that's why no matter what, transparency with a coach is important. You're paying a coach, you're paying their trust and their knowledge, and
Mm.
the most transparent you can be is how you're going to get as much data. Because maybe he would have said, okay,
Mm.
maybe the muffins work this because of this and this, but now because you're going over here and doing a show here, if you do the muffins, you are going to spill or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it's interesting because I think a lot of people do have that mindset of, oh, I know myself more than, my coach does, or I feel like
Mm.
I need this. And it's like, you want to find that balance between, and which was the second point you made, which was kind of like knowing where you can apply the, what was it? Now I've had a mind blank. Damn. It was like wait, fuck. Uh, it's like applying that knowledge of going, okay, I need to trust my, no, that's what it was. Sorry, my apologies. Applying what your coach, you want to be learning with your coach. Like that's the thing. Like you said,
Exactly.
you're going to listen and you want to question things because you want to be educated at the same time. So you can, because obviously your coach is never going to be in your body and experience what you
Mm,
experience, and they're not watching you 24/7. So you want to be learning
exactly.
so you can adjust. But that's why that transparency is important, because the more data that they have and the more the education that you have and you can bring, that's what makes a good combination.
Mm, I totally agree.
Yeah.
And the thing was, like, when I was in Japan, I was actually fuller. So throwing that muffin definitely spilled me over. And
Mm,
then even my coach, like Scotty, was like, in the morning before having Macca's, I sent him a, morning check-in photo and stuff. And he was like, "Did you have Macca's already?" So he knew that
yeah.
something was different.
Yeah.
And then I still had it. And then that's how, it caused the issue. And then I think in the same time, because a lot of competitors are a coach as
Yeah.
well. They coach people, they have the knowledge, so they they don't necessarily think they are better,
Mm,
but in the same time, as you said, yourself will know your body the most. That causes the issue for a lot of people
yeah.
because you have the knowledge, obviously. Like if you don't have the knowledge, you will just listen and do it,
Yeah.
hopefully. But that was, yeah, the biggest issue that I found.
So I just want to kind of take it back a little bit to what you said. So you were born in Sydney,
Yeah.
and then you went back to Japan, and then were you back in Sydney before lockdown, or you were in Japan all the way to kind of lockdown? Because what year was your first comp? And you did that with Scotty?
So the very first comp that I did was 2021.
Yeah.
I had a guy who was helping me.
Hmm.
It was not like a coach. He obviously does know a lot of stuff, and he was a bodybuilder before. He's actually involved in the ICN, but not in the judge.
Hmm.
And he was my sister's friend.
Okay.
So that guy was helping me out. But going back to the story, so I was in Japan from since I was 7
Yeah.
until 19. So
Yeah.
12 years there. So that was until 2019. Then from 2019, I moved back to Sydney for university.
Yeah.
And I had 2 years doing university stuff, like studying. And then I started going to gym at that point, and that's where I had this coach helping me. That was the first competition. And then next year, I did it with him again, 2022. And then after that, I started with Scotty, and then I was with him for 2 years, and then we did it 2020. No, 2020. I had 2 years in between.
Yeah.
So 2022, I think I did 2024 in that case. Oh, that's kind of weird. I kind of messing at the moment because I competed last year. Oh no, 2023. So I competed for that 2022, 2023 ICN and IFBB season A. I did it naturally um, because I wanted to dive into the IFBB. I do believe that the IFBB NPC is the bodybuilding
Yeah. Yeah.
place to be at. And I knew already that I want to be an IFBB pro,
Yeah.
and I just want to, give it a go. And I actually met Iris Kyle,
Hmm.
is Kyle, um, the legend in women. Is it bodybuilding? Figure no,
No, bodybuilding. I'm
bodybuilding, I
pretty sure.
believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I met her in Japan in this powerhouse gym, and I asked her the question, saying like, "Hey, I'm still natural at this point. I'm doing this natural federation in Australia, but I'm not sure if I should do the IFBB because obviously there's a difference between being natural and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
enhanced." And at that point there was no season B natural
Yeah. Yeah.
IFBB thing, and she was like, "What do you want to do? Like, what is your goal?" And I was like, "I want to be an IFBB pro, and I want to be able to compete at a higher level." And she was like, "Then give it a go. There's no reason to not do it." And then at the end of the day, it's not about placing and winning everything. It's about the process and the progress and how you learn and how that experience will help you a lot. And she gave me an example that she was competing every single year. She's a bit of different of
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
a genetic freak, so it's a bit of a different story, but she just gave me an advice that, you should give it a go. And that's why I did that. And then it was great. It's like I didn't look great, but it was the best thing I did, and did the icing afterwards. So yeah, it was that's kind of how I went through the competitions as well.
I still like think that even because like look, we even have some still a little bit different like division and category, but we even still
Mm,
have some like natty bikini pros.
yes.
And it's just that thing of like, I think, at the end of the day, regardless of pets, it's still up to like your genetics and your discipline
Mm,
and how much effort you put in. So it's kind of like, I think it's cool to be able to do, a federation that is enhanced, still natty, because you can at least see, well, regardless of me not being enhanced, I can still see where my natural genetic structure leads me
yeah.
within this kind of environment. And then it can kind of help me kind of see the projection where I could head towards,
Yes.
which I think a
Yes.
lot of people sometimes kind of go. And I think that's also important of being able to just continue to do comp after comp. Obviously you still need to grow depending on your division, but it's also about the experience and learning. And every time you do a prep, you only get better and better and better. Like there's people
Definitely.
that look amazing, have the size, but then they've never done a prep before. So by the time they do a
Mm,
prep, they can't even then show the proper physique that they want to when they first step on
exactly.
stage.
And I know so many people as well saying like, "Oh, before I compete, I want to get bigger." It's like they're delaying it.
Mm,
And then I always tell even my clients or people be like, "You're never going to have the perfect opportunity.
yeah.
Like you should give it a go regardless." And as you said, like for example, you might not be able to present yourself well, or obviously the first competition, it's going to be hard. But some people have this mindset like, I want to win my first competition.
Yeah.
I want to win and I want to turn pro straight away, which is not really going to be the case for a lot of people. Like some genetic freaks can make it, but it's not really the case. So that was the decision that I was able to make from being natty to enhanced, because once I put myself in that situation,
Mm,
comparing myself to other guys who are enhanced and training longer time, I compared my physique naturally and saying like, okay, I can achieve something.
mm,
I saw like my potential there. So I can, step to um, the unnatty side and be able to potentially do what I want to do, achieve what I want to achieve. But without that, I don't think I was going to be able to, hop on, let's say,
yeah.
because I wouldn't be able to have that comparison by myself. So that kind of gave me the confidence to be like, okay, now it's time. I know what I want. I have the foundation. I know how to eat, sleep, recover,
Mm,
train, and be able to make the decision and potentially achieve what I want to achieve. So that year was a big year for myself.
yeah. Was the goal to always, because what I wanted to understand more, like when you decided to kind of do that first show, it
Mm.
sounded like you hadn't really been, I guess, bodybuilding for long. So
Yeah.
what was there a particular reason? Was it based on the environment, the people you were connecting with? Like what was that decision to kind of go, you know what? I want to step on stage. And was it just to experience something different, or was that experience to kind of go, this is a stepping stone because I've made the decision that I want to be pro and I want to grow within this space?
I would say the biggest thing was, watching the guys in Japan or the pros, and especially in Japan, they really look up to these guys
Mm,
as a star, like someone who's like crazy, like a let's say like a Hollywood star.
mm,
They really idolize people. I think in Australia that's not really the case.
yeah,
Everyone looks at someone and be like, yeah, you're a bodybuilder, or even in the bodybuilding industry, you don't idolize. But in the States, for example, like when you go to these expos or even Olympia when I went last year, people lining up. Like CBum had an insane line. There was like 2 hours wait to just say
yeah,
hi and like do anything. And that was kind of what I wanted, I would say. I was like, I want to be like
yeah,
the
yeah,
guy So that was my drive at the beginning
Yeah.
to become a pro and become someone who people will, look up. And as I said, I compared myself to Shun Kaneko, who is a pro, and how he has a lot of influence on social media. I was like, I want to be like him. That is
Mm.
my goal.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm going to compete. And at the same time, it was a bit cocky thinking like, oh, like I can do it.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
look at myself, I'm like, I can look like that.
Yeah.
And funny enough, I asked my coach saying, is there a particular person who I should look up
Mm.
or like I have this like similarity in terms of physique, so I can kind of not copy and paste, but like learn through that person. And then he was like, "Yeah, probably shouldn't." And he is actually coached by Ariel Cuts as well.
That's cool.
So it was cool to hear that as well,
Yeah. It's
saying
like a little
like
full
the
circle
person,
moment.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, like the reason why I started and a reason why I thought I could do well is because there is already similarity.
Mm.
And I was, even though I didn't have much bodybuilding like knowledge at that point, I was able to see that and push myself to do the first competition. But in the same time, I think it's the delusional mindset that you really need sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You need to be a little bit delusional and sometimes stupid to think like you can achieve something great to push yourself to do it, to
Yeah. Yeah.
continuously do
Yeah.
something. And I try to stay delusional a lot.
It's
So I
it's
can,
That's the best mindset to have. If you want
mm,
to make any big dream happen, it's like that combination of being crazy and delusional because
yes,
you have to push yourself out of the comfort zone. So if you're
mm,
not being crazy or delusional, you're never going to grow out of that comfort zone to achieve that big goal. And then you're not
no,
going to realize that all the stepping stones in between are possible, but you just got to go chase it and just get it done.
yeah, 100%.
Something that I think has been really interesting that you've said, and I'll 100% agree. And I think that's like the one thing that's like, so sad. It's actually half the reason why I started the podcast. It's like, I find like it's Australia, bodybuilding in Australia has become so good. It's like definitely
Mm.
growing. We got a bit
Oh
of a
yeah.
hit during COVID. It's kind of bouncing back, losing kind of like the Arnolds and not having the
Mm.
pros coming over has like kind of had a negative effect. But it's so true that like in different countries, like Japan, like you said, they're the pros and the bodybuilders that idolize like these like famous people, and it's the same
Yes.
thing in America. It's the same thing in Iran, in India. Like you
Mm.
hear it when you listen to the pros when they go on all the different go to the different expos and stuff overseas. And I feel like that's like something that's missing here. And it's
Mm.
cool that you've got I've been able to I guess experience that. Like you said, like look at the connections that you've already made being in Japan and going to the gyms in Japan and the people that you've
Mm.
met through that you just wouldn't have the opportunity to experience that here. And that's maybe
Mm.
what's helped fed like that delusion and that belief that it's like I'm going to a gym and these people are just there
Yeah.
and then the way they're treated. So you're kind of like feeling that energy and connecting with it.
100%. Even like we have so many great athletes in Australia. Like especially I would love to say classic.
Mm,
It's insane. Like Ethan has is qualified for this
yeah.
year. I think Tom Stanley is competing this weekend or something very
Very,
soon.
very soon. Oklahoma, I'm pretty sure he's
Oklahoma.
yeah.
Yeah. And like he was super close last year.
Yeah.
Like arguably he could have won. And I think he would have won one. And who else do we have? We have just too many great guys. Even like recently, John winning his pro card.
Yeah.
Like we just have so many great people, great physiques. When they go to the States, for example, they can win a show and they can qualify for Olympia. But unfortunately, sometimes we don't have the opportunity here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then those people are kind of like, how could I say, just people just not aware of them, or just
Yeah.
people just
Yeah.
like look at them and be like, yeah, they're great, good, they're good bodybuilders. Even like when it comes to sponsorships and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I don't think Australia really pushes that because I don't know if it's the industry, like how much the industry can make, for
Yeah.
example, from a supplement standpoint or the closing standpoint. But some guys, in the States will make a great amount of money
Crazy. Yeah.
with their influence. So that is really something that I really want to push as well. But in the same time, I do see the difficulty doing in Australia. because I don't know what will be the situation or how to change that. And I don't think that's something that an individual can change as well,
Yeah.
unless you get out of the country and become someone and maybe come back. Um, so I
It's
think
a
that's something.
it's that funny reminder that, like, as much as like Australia is like a really great country to live in, it's like we're still just like this small island, like not connected to
Mm,
any other part of the world. And it, like,
yeah,
especially for bodybuilding being so niche, and it's still niche like overseas, but because it's all so connected, there's a lot more opportunities and money put into it. And
yeah,
like that's the thing. Like, I was talking to another competitor the other day, and it's just like, it's crazy. Like, there's only like what 14 pro cards, I think, or maybe 16 now, that like given out in Australia a year. It's like that's given
yeah.
out almost like one season in America.
100. Yeah. Oh,
It's yeah,
it's
crazy.
insane in the States. And I wanted to compete in the States, but I didn't realize there's only two competitions that you could do as a non-American person to win a
Oh,
pro card.
really?
Yeah, so I don't know, someone needs to correct me if I'm wrong, but the Arnold Classic Amateur
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
the Amateur Olympia in Vegas, those are the only two competitions that, for example, Australian citizen
yeah,
can
yeah, yeah,
compete in. But in comparison, they have like millions of pro
yeah, yeah, yeah.
qualifiers. And then I think every year our pool of great athletes, especially in classical bodybuilding, are just getting bigger and bigger. But unfortunately, the people can go out and turn pro is very limited
Yeah.
at the moment. So unless the person really goes out of the country and do a pro qualifier, there is so much lack of, let's say, opportunity for those type of people. And also because we don't have a pro show as well, I think that really limits the opportunity for pros. And I see a lot of pros, like, for example, moving out of the country. And even like, for example, Tom needs to go out of the country, go into the States, go to Oklahoma to compete. Financially as well, it's not easy
Nah.
for everyone. Like, obviously, some people do great with the online coaching and everything. They have a business going on, they might have a gym, but it's so different when, for example, you're in the States, you live there, and then you can just like go, like your literal like state will have all the competitions that you
Yeah,
can
have
do.
its own pro show.
Pro show and everything. Even I was listening to the podcast, the Men's Physique, is it Men's Physique Radio, that Alex Toplin does. They were discussing about these pro shows, and he was telling Andre Ferguson, saying like, "Oh, the pro show on the weekend, on Saturday or something, you can do the next pro show the next day on Sunday by just driving 1.5 hour away." There's two
Crazy.
pro shows that close.
Yeah.
So I think that is a huge difference when it comes to the bodybuilding industry that we have. And even Japan has three pro shows this year. China has a lot this year,
Mm.
a lot of pro qualifiers as well. Korea has a lot of shows. They had two pro shows in, yeah, two pro shows in May, the Mortism and the AGP. So I think that is very different and lacking. And I just wish a lot of people will have more opportunity
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
just, go out and do more because even I know some guys who did, the season A here, who was like almost turning to a pro. They just shut it down.
Yeah.
They're
You
just
have
like,
to.
okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
You have to because you don't have the opportunity and the financial freedom to do it. And that's just something that really, I believe, slows down the the industry.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I hope that it's something like, I know there's rumors that they are wanting to do some of the, I think, wellness bikini, potentially men's physique, and maybe classic.
Mm,
In Australia, they're trying to hopefully bring that back within the next couple of years, which would be great because it would
yeah.
give that opportunity, because we have so many now. But,
Mm,
you know, I think it would be amazing that hopefully maybe in, even 10 years, that there could be at least maybe two pro shows, like, because
yeah.
we've got season A, we've got season B, we've got the natty season C. It's like, season A, then we have a pro show, season B, then we have a pro show. And it's just
Mm,
kind of, I think it's giving that that opportunity. So like whether it's like obviously it's like whether it's like the following weekend or whatever it is, because I know like sometimes some
Yeah.
of the people that win like the pro cards in some of the American shows and that like that same weekend they can do the pro show and go straight
Mm.
in. So whether it's something like that here, let's say season A gets done, whoever wins the pro cards, on the Saturday, we do the pro show on the Sunday. And the people that won the pro
Yeah.
cards can go in, and then we already have the athletes here that can register. And then like the best part is like, you have all the, China, Japan, um, Korea. They're like not too far away that we can get some of
Mm.
those athletes to come down
Yeah.
to the Australia show. And even like I wonder how hard it would be to like connect like sponsorships and get people of those who are running the shows there to kind of connect and put money into helping run the shows here
Yeah. Yeah.
because that
Definitely.
opportunity's there. Obviously there's a lot of logistics that I know myself
Mm.
that don't know about, but hopefully that's the direction that we can maybe head into.
100%. 100%.
What so so you okay, actually before I ask that,
Mm.
let's go to the recent showing.
Yes.
So when you did the Sydney show,
Hmm.
was obviously, the expectation of most people is to always win.
Yeah.
Um, what was that like when you won the overalls? Like what was the goal to kind of just like, at least come first within your class? Like, did you expect that the overall could be a possibility? And like, how did that kind of feel when that all happened?
This was kind of an interesting experience for myself because obviously going to the show, this whole season, my goal was to win the pro card.
Mm,
Even though my size is not up there yet, that is something I need to really improve on. I did see the possibility, especially working with my current coach, and it was just like how could I say? It was not the goal for New South Wales. Like winning New South Wales was not the goal. I had the expectation for myself to win. And
mm,
obviously, I knew some of my mates competing as well. And I was very confident with my package as well, especially compared to last year. But last year, for example, I did not place at all in New South Wales.
mm.
And when I went to the Nationals, I placed first in novice, but I was not even in the first call out in the open division. So it was kind of a jump in the same
Yeah.
time for myself, but I had this expectation for myself to at least win the Sydney show and not just win the New South Wales Sydney show, to obviously win. Be
Yeah.
like, here's the one. And then I had this mindset like, I am going to win. Like,
Yeah.
I even told people, like, this is my show.
Yeah.
But in the same time, when I won, I wasn't able to soak it in. I struggled to soak it in because I realized that I moved my goal. The pole moved
Yeah.
significantly and so fast that last year, if I won an open class, I'll be so happy. If I won New South Wales, I'll be like, I achieved the goal.
Yeah.
But this time, because I didn't set that as a goal and it was just a milestone,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it just happened. And I was like, the expectation just happened. So that is something I struggled. It took me like nearly 4 days, 5 days. Like I was scrolling through my phone and I was like, oh yeah, I won the state show. And I didn't want to take it lightly as well because
Yeah.
I knew all the other guys who have won a state show and I respect all the guys who have won it. Like last year there was Tavi, um, years ago there was Jack Nelson, who's my great mate. I was kind of struggling at that point because the week after was the Nationals. So
Mm.
all the focus was there, going to um, compete and potentially win. So when I actually won, I couldn't really celebrate.
Yeah.
And that was like a weird feeling for myself because I achieved something, but I didn't feel like I achieved it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But later on, like now, for example, when I go to the gym, people will come up to me like, "Oh, congratulations for winning the state show," or
Yeah.
like people are aware of the fact that I did win it,
Hmm.
and I was like, "Oh, I did something."
Yeah.
But for me, my coach were like, "Yeah, you need to win."
Yeah. Because I think it's that thing where it's like you said, the winning. knowing, and I've always wondered that actually, and I always feel like it's such a hard spot to be in, whether, when your show is the show right before nationals,
Yeah.
because you kind of get stuck in this weird spot between you go, well, nationals is the real goal because that's where the pro card is. Regardless of how I place, I'm going to qualify. But if I do win and I win the overall, well, then I'm obviously a front runner for the pro card.
Mm.
But then it's kind of like there's not enough time to really soak it in because it's like I got to come off and go straight into, like, heads down. Okay, here's my next peak week. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
Let's kind of maintain this look, or what can we do to let's get that judge's feedback. So you're really stuck in this whirlwind of like, how can I acknowledge what has just happened, but I need to still
Mm.
put in the work because this is the goal.
Yes. That was like literally the situation for myself.
So what was the, I guess, the feedback from like that win and the plan with your coach to kind of come into nationals to hopefully, I guess, now being considered a top contender for that pro card? Was it kind of just a continuous like smooth sailing? Was it like, we love this look, let's bring this look in? Was it okay, let's come in a bit sharper, let's come in a bit fuller?
The judge feedback and my coach's feedback was exactly the same, that we need to come fuller
Yeah.
because for the stage show we didn't really carve up much, not on purpose, but it just ended up being a result that it wasn't enough. So we were like, okay, we need to come fuller. From the judge's feedback, they were like, conditioning is good, shape is good, presentation is good. We just want you to come fuller for the nationals. I was like, okay, that's great. And then my coach is like, let's dig a bit deeper
Mm.
so we can be a bit more sharper and let's try to get fuller. So that was the plan for me and my coach going into the nationals. Then I think I dropped 2 kilos from that week, from my peak week to another peak week, from Sydney to the nationals. And we tried to come fuller, carving up a little bit more. And still, as a result, we figured out that it was still not enough. We didn't have that pop.
Yeah.
So that was the same feedback for the nationals, but definitely it was an improved package for the nationals from Sydney. And then um, I was happy. My coach was happy, I believe, how I looked for the nationals. And regardless of the results, because that's something that is out of our control as an athlete, that it all depends on who shows up and
Hmm.
what the judges think on a day. That was my main focus, making sure that I come in fuller, I bring a better package, more lean presentation, making it, right. And I was just truly happy with how I did it.
Yeah,
And that
yeah,
was the same as Korea, because in Korea, I didn't place at all,
yeah. Mm.
but my package was the best.
Yeah.
And then I was just like satisfied with that because my focus was not just on the results, but on my physique and how
Yeah,
I
yeah.
look and just trying to improve each time.
Well, it's even just like you said, like thinking back, like how you can now reflect from how, I guess, like going from like the year before, not even placing,
Mm,
to then coming in, going, boom, here's an overall, here's like, first in my class at nationals, and then coming into, even not placing a career, but it's like, look at that massive jump that you made in a year. So it's like
yeah,
now you kind of, and then you've got you're because what, that's like the first showing that you've done with your current coach.
exactly.
So it's like you've got all that data now, and then you've learned all the discipline, what you need to do. You've got trust with your coach that now imagine what you're going to do within the next year for when you compete either next year or the year after. It's like you all that. So it's like you've won regardless, and I think that's the
Mm,
biggest thing. It's always about beating your previous package. If you're not beating your previous
100%.
package, regardless of placing, did
Then
you
what's the
really
point?
progress? Like, it's just
Exactly.
kind of like. So I think like that's a massive pat on like your back shoulder, like in itself. What so what was what I'm most intrigued about, because obviously not a lot of people get the chances to compete overseas, and obviously as you
Mm,
hear, when you do compete overseas, there is a lot of difference in judges' feedback and the way that they
yeah.
judge the show. So as you said, you didn't really place in Korea, but obviously you liked the package you brought. What was the comparison in feedback in that compared to obviously wanting to come in a bit fuller? What the judges said here.
So, for example, for the nationals, the feedback was basically you have no back.
Yeah.
That was the feedback that I got, and even I had an opportunity to talk to Brett, who's a head judge
Yeah.
in Australia, and he even broke it down in Scotty's podcast
Hmm.
about how he judged the whole divisions, and I thought that was brilliant
Yeah.
because we hear the raw voice, and he explained why I was second and not first in my class,
Yeah.
competing with Jeremy. I am very confident with my front, for example. I think genetically, I'm given with my ab structure, which is not something that I really can control. I can train my abs and make it better,
Yeah. Yeah.
but how it's shaped and all my structure with the upper body is how it is from my parents.
Yeah.
And getting that feedback, the back is not enough, which has always been the case.
Yeah.
Like my back is always lacking. But in comparison, when I competed in Korea, the feedback was like, you're just small.
Yeah. That's funny because like something that like what really impressed me about you, because obviously I myself love like open bodybuilding.
Mm,
Um, and like there's a few men's physique like people that I follow in that, and I'm like learning a bit more about um men's physique and that, and understanding a bit more, and something that like I understood, and like when thinking about someone like, for example, Ryan Terry and like the top men's
yes.
physique athletes like that, it's like what impressed me so much about you was like I hear that the direction that the men's physique is kind of going into, it's actually really about that front and your
Yes.
abs and how you look. Like we went into that part where it was all about having that really wide back, that thick, dense back, and that's still
Mm,
important. But the people that are kind of staying on top are having that, look within the abs and the way it's shaped and the way that your genetics are in that frontal like X frame shape, and even having your like your legs fill out the shorts. And then that's what kind of really impressed me about you, that it's like you had like your front,
mm,
you had it. And it's like, yeah, well, I can understand why I guess the feedback from Korea was just kind of like you with more size and
mm.
you keep that front structure. It's like you're eventually going to turn pro, like literally.
It
And
was
like, so,
yeah, it was a clear answer for myself.
mm,
And it's like, I think it's a good issue to have
well,
because, for example,
100%.
some people will be like, yeah, you're like ab structure this, your upper body structure is this.
Yeah.
But for my case, it was just the size. And
Yeah.
even when I talked to the head judge in Korea, who was Mo from New Zealand,
Hmm.
um, he was like, if you were bigger, you were first or second.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And that really gave me the confidence. And even people in the division or even different divisions who are doing bodybuilding will be like, it's just a matter of time. And I
Yeah.
truly believe that as well. And that is the number one reason why I can push myself as well, because I know I have what I need. It just time. And as I
Mhm.
said, I started going to gym in 2021. So I'm
And
still
that's
like
what's
kind of,
crazy. That's you got time on your hand. Like it's only been 5 years, and like that
yeah,
just size takes time. That's what's crazy.
exactly. And then, I'm still 26. So it's like, I'm not like super, super young, but it's like compared to other competitors, I'm still in a younger age. And it, I just know that I can be the guy at this point. And even like in Korea, it was interesting because when we, stepped on stage, we did the individual posing
Mhm.
first. And then they made a first call out and then compared. So I was actually in the first call out that a lot of people don't know. I didn't like post anything
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
So I was in the first call out, but that is based on how they looked at me individually with the routine.
yeah,
So they
yeah,
certainly thought like, okay, this guy has a look.
yeah, yeah,
Let's compare him and put in the mix.
yeah,
And then we did a few comparison, and then my number was 94. The head judge was like, okay, in the first call out after doing a few comparisons, it's like, okay, 94, you can go to the back.
yeah,
So at that point, I was like, did I just smoke everyone? Because they sent me to the back, and I was just trying to like compare others. But in fact, they called me out on the second call out and then started comparing. So I was like,
yeah,
okay, like I didn't win. But that was the proof that I had a structure. When I look, just they look at me individually, I look great. But
yeah,
unfortunately, when I was in the mix with all the bigger boys, because all the guys who were there were massive.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then because it's Korea and the Asian country, all the competitors were from overseas, like China, Hong
yeah,
Kong, Malaysia. In fact, the guy who won um, the whole division, who turned pro, was a Malaysian guy.
yeah. Mm,
And afterwards, because I didn't know anyone in my class, and I know their Instagram now, everyone has been like second, first in the
yeah,
class. Like
yeah,
everyone has been a top contender for a while. So it it was a great kind of like, how could I say, not a test, but like a re-recognized moment, be like, okay, I'm there.
yeah,
I am good, but it's just a matter of time. And that's not something that I rush in the same time
yeah.
because I know a lot of guys who will, they might just throw in more PDs. They might just do something else. They might just blow up. But especially in men's physique, it's not just about the size.
Yeah, yeah,
You just can't, like, guys could blow up their waist, for example, for pushing too much,
yeah. Hmm.
or they might lose their, symmetry and everything because they rush too much. But I know for my case, that's not really a situation that I need to follow. And I'm not mad about, having the potential and just need to take more time.
Yeah.
I just need to do the work. I just need
Hmm.
to get bigger. And that's pretty much on me with the time, with a great coach. And I'm just confident that I'll be able to make it. And with my coach, I had a conversation saying, like, okay, this year, obviously, we wanted to turn pro. But unfortunately, even if we did turn pro, you're not going to do well in a pro show.
Yeah.
You're too small. And that's a fact. That's why he said, like, okay, this time you're going to sit down. You're not
Yeah.
going to keep going. I actually wanted to do more shows.
Mm.
I was considering Toronto, which is going to be this weekend.
Yeah, this weekend.
I was considering this one. And then I was considering Japan, which is going to be in 2 weeks. 3 weeks. No, 2 weeks. So there was like amateur shows I was still considering, but he was like, this is not the
The,
time to keep going because it's not the peak issue, it's not the presentation issue,
yeah. It's
it's
just
the
the
size
size.
issue. So he was like, sit down, take the health phase, we're gonna improve. And then next year, when we compete, that is a time that you gotta turn pro
Yeah.
and also be ready for a pro show.
Mm.
There's a huge difference between a ready pro and a, a pro who's not ready, just turned pro.
Yeah, yeah.
So it it just more like a clarity for myself to be like,
Mm.
okay, you know, I'm good. And I'm never like salty with the results as well. I hear people talking like, oh, I should have time pro, this and
Yeah.
that. But at the end of the day, it's a long run for
Yes.
everyone. Like even talking about PEDs, we don't want to push too much and ruin our health and make like our career shorter, for
That's right.
example. That could happen for a lot of people.
The sport is always a marathon, not a sprint, and you want to be doing
100%.
it for as long as you possibly can. So it's like,
Absolutely.
and obviously, like legit, you have the best feedback anyone ever wants. All you want to hear is all you have to do is get bigger, and you know that that's inevitable, and it's just going
Yeah.
to take time. So it's like I don't have to worry about anything else. I can just go in, train hard, do what I have been doing it, and it's just naturally going to happen. And like you said, I think so many people chase a card, but then that card just ends up becoming nothing because you then
Mm.
have to take two, three, depending on the category. But you got to take
Yeah,
another year, another 2 years. You're not even ready to be a pro because you don't
exactly.
even have a pro physique. You've just won it on the day. And so it's just like you're then even kind of extending the journey even more because it's just like, yeah, you're just starting from scratch again. So it's better to
100%.
be pro, turn pro, and be ready than, turn pro and not be ready.
Oh, definitely. Like, I totally agree with that. And I think we have, like, even like John, for example, he's doing a 2-on-2 pro show
Yeah,
this
yeah.
year, but he was also considering, like, oh, taking 2, 3 more years and being, how can I say it? Let's say a great pro, a ready pro, because
Mm.
obviously he's open, his weight cap moves, and the guys, because like he's very limited with a weight cap at the
Yeah.
moment. Then if he jumps into the pro show, the weight cap difference is
Yeah. Massive,
massive.
massive.
But that's more particularly for open bodybuilding or
Mm.
classic in men's physique. But it's funny how I think as well in men's physique, I know a lot of guys as an amateur because we don't have a weight cap yet until
Yeah.
we turn pro. a lot of them are not going to make the weight cut.
Yeah,
And I've talked to a lot of people. I know a lot of guys who turn pro. The weight is so much heavier than what it should be, or to compete in a pro show. And that is something that I think is kind of wrong
yeah.
because let's say you turn pro, what are you going to do? Like you're big already, you're not making the weight. You
It,
can make the weight, but there's no progress from there.
it it's such an interesting thing. Like the recent season A had been like my first show that I had gone back and watched in person for a couple of
Mm,
years. Um, and it's just that the irony of like how many people are still doing classes that necessarily it's like you should just not be doing that class. I understand if you
exactly.
love a class, but at the end of the day, the sport is genetic. The sport is what you have. You can't change that just because, like you're saying, that there was some men's physique people, and it was like you need to be doing a different class. It's like now that
Totally.
I didn't even realize, and that makes a lot of sense. I had wondered that like how much that weight cap is within men's physique. It's like, yeah, it's even classic people. It's like you're right on this cusp, but because you like the aesthetic look, but it's like you're just limiting yourself when it's just like you might as well be 212, you might as be open. It's the same thing for
Yeah,
men's physique. You might as well just go in a classic. It's like don't be a bitch, train your legs. Like it's like you know what I
100%.
mean? It's crazy that it
And that's
still
a mindset I
happens.
have as well. Like, I love bodybuilding, and I'm not like stuck in men's physique. Like, for example, genetically, because my mom is Asian, she's
Yeah,
Japanese, and then just in case, because a lot of people won't realize my dad is white.
yeah,
So, like, from a mom's side, I have legs, like
yeah, yeah,
genetically. And then even my dad, because he's white, but he's like Scottish Irish, like, I think that's another part genetically that helps me with my legs. I don't mind going into classic eventually, and I think that might be the case
yeah.
for
That's cool.
myself.
I was gonna ask you that. Were you marinated to men's physique, or is there a potential for more?
Potential for more, always. And I think, recently we see that shift a lot. A lot of classic guys going to open,
Mhm.
like Eurus, Hosmer, from Spain, I think. He moved
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
open recently, because a lot of people will be limiting their potential
Mm.
and sticking to the class. But sometimes, you sacrifice so much to make the weight cap, and then you can even be a better competitor in a different category. So for myself, genetically having the legs gives me the opportunity to consider doing
Yeah,
classic
yeah,
eventually, depending on how my body looks. And funny story that when I was with Scotty, we didn't train legs because my legs were like too big with the imbalance for the upper body
yeah,
because my upper body was small. So we didn't train legs. The last year with aerial cuts, we've been training legs like a lot. And especially for the trend right now, men's physique guys do need legs.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I could see the potential of me doing classic. Even actually, I was thinking to do classic this year as well,
Just for fun. Why not?
just for fun. I was like, you know what? I might throw in a novice class at least in the
Yeah,
Sydney
yeah.
show. But at the same time, I was going through the posing with my mates, or I actually had a posing session with Pete from Sydney, or like even my mate Josh. I realized how difficult and different it is to
Yeah,
do the classic posing. It is so difficult. It's 100 times harder. Immensity posing and just like front and back. It's
yeah,
for me, it's easy. Like
yeah,
obviously, I do have the experience. I've done it for a while as well, but there was a huge difference. And I talked to my coach, and he was like, "Yeah, we can do classic. You can throw in one class, but we just need to get you more peeled."
yeah,
But then in my mind, it was like, I'm going to spend so much more time and energy to do the classic posing and make sure I'm going to be confident on stage to present myself. Using that energy and time, even if it's 5%, if I lose and don't win my class or pro card because of that 5%,
yeah,
I'm going to regret that. And that's why I was like, okay, this time I'm just sticking to men's physique. That is a future plan potentially because I do have the legs. I can still grow my legs. And my if I don't wear the board shorts, I can still look classic.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I think this is a cheat code for a lot of people. Whoever's doing classic right now as an amateur, if they do men's physique and fix their poses, I think a lot of people can temper it.
Yeah.
And that's the case for Ayrton from Western Australia. He is competing in Thailand. He was a classic competitor, and then he changed his the category to men's physique. He won his pro card, and then he's looking great right now.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of potential people, and then it's like a lot of people do limit themselves, as you said. Like when you watch the class, for example, you'd be like, "Is this guy really men's physique?" Because you need a certain look for it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
unfortunately, some people don't have that, or some people might be too short. They might just need to do 212 and get bigger. And for myself, having the ab set with a longer torso, even though my legs are a bit short, I still believe that I suit in men's physique,
Hmm.
but eventually I can do both. So that is like the privilege that I think I have. And going back to the story, if there's a chance for myself going to Olympia, competing at a high level in classic rather than men's physique in the long run, I'll do classic.
Yeah.
I'm not sticking to something.
I think like that's I think how you can like separate the difference between someone who loves bodybuilding for bodybuilding, because at the
Yes,
end of the day, if you truly love bodybuilding for what it is and what it's meant to be, you just want to see the best version of yourself and what your body can do
100%.
and what that's going to turn into. So you never want to limit yourself. And I think something that's funny is like, even regards to like people going, well, if I go do classic or I do 212, I got to push more drugs. But it's
Mm,
like there's still, as time goes on, health protocols and
yes.
research and what you can do is getting better and better to try to diminish the risk and like weigh up the reward. But also it's
Mm,
like having to, when you just genetically are just big or your structure is what it is, and then you having to go to such lengths to get yourself at a certain weight category,
mm.
that's putting stress on your body, that's gonna do
Yeah,
harm more, or regardless of what amount of drugs you take. So it's like,
100%.
why even put your body through that when it's just like clearly you're just like strangling it and not letting it do what it's wanting to do? So you're gonna hurt yourself anyway, because most like problems in life, which is like crazy. Like even like a lot of people suffer through like autoimmune disease and stuff like
Mm,
that. The leading cause for all of that is stress and stress on the body.
yes.
And that can be done by trying to hold it back and not feeding. Like I heard some stories of a few people that like with season A who like were fasting and not having water, getting in the sauna for over like 24 hours just to like drop that little
Mm,
bit of weight because they couldn't do it. It's like, can you imagine what that's doing on your body? And like,
yeah, it's a lot.
yeah, crazy, 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 crazy. So I'm glad to hear, and I think it's always fun, like, hearing someone who, I think, someone who has the gift and has the genetic blessings, that it's just kind of like, you found your groove with what you're doing, but you're not gonna limit yourself, and you're just kind of gonna let whatever happens happen, and
Mm,
see what occurs. And I think something that I really like throughout this whole talk so far as well is that it also kind of just feels like a big full circle moment of whenever that was, like when you decided to step on stage and you went, you know what, I'm gonna have these dreams and I have these delusions, I want to be like this person, I want to inspire others, I want to you know be that person. Each step and each year you've competed, it's like things have slowly like confirmed that was the right decision, and you've kind of like
yes.
brought that to life, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, literally. Like it's been amazing. Like the last 5 years. Like if I look back 5 years ago and if I if someone could tell myself like, 5 years later, you're gonna look like this. You're gonna be winning a state show. You might almost win a pro card. You might look this good. Like I might not believe myself or
Yeah.
like believe that person. So it's been so quick in the same time, but because that 5 years, how I've been able to progress, I know that 5 years later from now, if I continue to work and even do better, obviously every year, I'm going to achieve something greater.
Yeah.
And then the comparison from last year to this year, how my body has changed with my new coach, I just think like it excites me seeing like this year, one year with my new coach, I was able to do this much. What is going to happen next year?
Yeah.
it's going to be even better.
It's only gonna get better. It's like the
Yeah.
year after that. It's like something like I was talking to a friend, Kevin, and Kevin was saying, and I like it's like the most realist thing ever. He said like if you have the gift and you and like John, is a perfect example of that. And like I
Mm,
think you're gonna be an example of that. And most people, like even like another person who's won their pro card, Sarah Gardner.
yeah.
It's like if you just do the relentless consistency and you put in the effort of what it takes to be a pro and you have that genetic gift, whether it's 5 years, 6 years, 8 years, if you just do it, you're gonna get there.
Mm,
Literally, it's just going to happen. It's not a matter of it's just a matter of when, not is it
yes,
going to happen. And I think like that's the right mindset to have if like you want to have those big goals.
definitely.
So one last kind of question to wrap things up, that I like to kind of like ask everyone that's on. What would you say is like your for the rest of the year and kind of like going into every day, what is like a motto or that you're kind of applying to yourself or like I guess somewhat advice that you want to give to anyone listening?
That's going to be a difficult one. I think at the end of the day, you need to believe in yourself.
Hmm,
And for myself, I have a tattoo on my chest, which is Japanese, um, which means like only one and different to others.
I like that.
So it's like becoming a best version of yourself
Yeah.
and separating yourself to others and not comparing. And then it's like unique in a way,
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
word
yeah.
itself. So I really believe that a lot of people should focus on, for example, their self and try to be the best version of their self. And that is the reason why I'd be able to, push myself every day. And it just every day consistently doing the right thing.
Hmm,
And I think if you have the right mindset and spend the time and you actually enjoy doing it, you'll be able to achieve great results no matter what. And being delusional, as we said earlier, you
yeah.
need to have this mindset and like dream to do better than you might even do. And because your goal is so high delusional, even if you land a little bit lower, it's still a great result.
Yeah, yeah, literally. I like that. I like that. You want to set, regardless of whatever the goal is, if it's as, to the moon, regardless of wherever you may end up landing, it's still going to be higher than what you probably expected anyway, because of how big the goal was. I like that.
100%. And for myself, being a bodybuilder and being consistent with that gives me the joy
Yeah,
every day. When I like recently, because I, finished the season and I've been having a bit more, food in my body. Finally, this week, I've been able to enjoy training again. And that gave me so much joy. Even like last year when I was in the off season, I realized that what makes me happy is the fact that I have the time to go to the gym
yeah,
and progress and just do what I want to do. And I have the privilege to make my day schedule, train when I want to. I literally tell my clients, like, this time to this time is my training time. I'm not going to take any sessions, for example. This is my time. This is
yeah,
my joy. This is what makes me happy. And being selfish in that way, I think is important if you really want to make it. Because at the end of the day, bodybuilding is a very selfish sport,
mm,
as we all know. And it's very hard and difficult to prioritize it, but at the same time, balance everything else. Obviously, everyone else has, for example, a family, their business. There's a lot of things goes into it, but if you cannot put the right energy towards the bodybuilding that you want to do, unfortunately, there are other people who are doing that even better and prioritizing that and making more significant results. So for myself, for example, I make sure that this is my priority.
yeah,
Like, obviously, I want to do better with my business. I want to make more money. I want to be able to have more freedom. But at the same time, if I can't prioritize myself as a bodybuilder, doing what I need to do and trying to act like a pro, act like Olympian, I'm not going to make it.
mm.
So that is something that I think what really is important if someone wants to succeed in this space. And for myself, seeing that what happened and what I did in a year, I know that was the right thing that I did.
Hmm.
Even though I might make less money, I might have less opportunities going out socially. At the end of the day, this is what makes me happy, and I know what I'm doing, and the delayed gratification is going to be much better than seeking the short term reward.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not a great person when it comes to delayed gratification, I think everyone is the same
Yeah,
way,
it's hard. It's
it's
hard.
hard, but when it comes to bodybuilding and understanding that it's a matter of time, it just gives me the opportunity and the mindset to be like, it's okay. It's
I
just time.
Yeah. I think what's cool about bodybuilding is like, and I think, you know, hearing what you said has like really clicked this thought for me, which is like bodybuilding can really be summed up. I think no, competing as a
Mm,
bodybuilder is very much like delayed gratification, like
yes,
winning, turning pro, all that. When you think about like your preps can go from anywhere between 12 to 16 weeks, sometimes longer, sometimes shorter.
mm,
And you may only, and you step on stage for a minute, 30 seconds for
very
your posing
short.
routine. Then depending how you are in the mix, maybe let's just say a total of 3 minutes total actually on stage presenting your physique. So that
Mm,
delayed gratification is there, but it's like if you really think about flipping that and going, well, actually the short-term gratification is there because if you think about everything that you do day to day, from making sure you hit your steps, making sure you're eating, you're posing, your food, your nutrition, your training, beating, showing up to the gym, you know, logging your weights, progressing, like progressive overload, those little things, they are rewarding if you have the right
100%,
mindset. So it's like you are
100%.
somewhat like achieving and rewarding yourself and making progress every single day. But I think sometimes we fixate too much on that win, that medal, that
Yeah,
trophy, that then we realize. So then it just becomes this delayed gratification where it's actually the one special thing I think about bodybuilding because it is 24/7, it can be rewarding all the time. And it can really, like
yes,
you said, and I think the overall point is like, you know, finding something that you love and you enjoy and like making sure you're filling your own cup. And if
mm,
you fill your own cup, even maybe, and for you, that is bodybuilding and being that athlete and being that person that then can inspire others. So you need to make sacrifices. You need to go, hey, look, I'm a coach, but guys, during this 2 hour window, I'm not reachable because this is my time to, do what I need to do so I can be that person. That's only helping you build the standards that then you can share with them. That's helping you build the habits and the dedications and having the morals and values that then will actually affect other areas of your life.
definitely. And I think for myself, for example, I know that I'm going to turn pro eventually.
Mm,
I know I'm going to go to Olympia eventually. I know I'm going to be able to influence more people in this career and be the guy. That is enough for me to keep pushing
mm.
myself, and because I know it's going to happen, even though it's selfish and sound cocky, it's just what I believe.
Yeah. That's what you need. That undisputed self-belief will take you further than anything else.
Mm. And obviously everyone's willing to take the sacrifice, but how much?
Yeah.
But this year, for example, I want to be able to, how can I say, have more life balance as well. Obviously, like priority is priority, but for example, when you're in prep, you can't see anyone.
Yeah.
You, like having and like spending time with my family, for example, I think that's a balance as well that a lot of people do struggle with.
Yeah.
So that is something that I've tried to do better this off season, and even like with my coach saying like we don't plan which competition we want to do. It all depends on how we look at that point. And if he says like, you know what, you're ready, you should go prep in 2 weeks, go to this show. I'm like, okay, done. So that's the kind of mindset that I have with my coach as well. And I'm just very excited how I'll look next year and how much work I can put in and, you know, make things happen.
Yeah. Nah, that's awesome. I love to hear it. Well, thank you so much for jumping on and joining me and having this chat. It's been an
Appreciate it.
absolute pleasure. And I'm very excited to see, how you continue to progress and like what's going to come and, what package you'll bring on stage next year. And it's only kind of really going to go up from here.
100%, 100%. Thanks so much for your time. It was a great time, opportunity, and I really appreciate your time.
I'm glad. I'm glad you had fun. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm sure it
Absolutely.
will be the first of many podcasts you'll do.
Hopefully, maybe even like, try to do it by myself as well.
Yeah, yeah. It's fun. It's fun. It's fun being able to kind of talk to people, connect, and you know, talk about something that you love.
Mm, for
Well,
sure.
enjoy the rest of your day.
You too, man. Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much.
Bye.
Bye.